All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders, a great millstone who were well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Okay, once again, it's the brother Shatia from the Chicago camp. Coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And this is late breaking news, I guess. You got a school shooting over in Turkey. Yeah, a mass school shooting in Turkey, which is in what we now call Europe, in a place where they have very strict gun laws. Like only police officers have guns. The average everyday citizen does not have a gun. So for this to happen and it be the second time that this has happened, it's a big deal, you know. So we'll let this play and then we'll get some scripture.
Correspondent James Longman. Thanks, James. Tonight, the images coming in: a 14-year-old shooter opening fire in two middle school classrooms in Turkey. At least 9 people killed, students jumping out of windows. This is the second school shooting in Turkey in just 2 days. Here's James Longman.
Damn, 2 days.
Horror in Turkey tonight as a 14-year-old student opened fire in 2 middle school classrooms, killing at least 9 people and wounding more than a dozen more. It's the country's second school shooting in just 2 days. Police say they're investigating this video posted on X, which shows students running from the gunfire and jumping out of windows. Frantic parents racing to the school to find their children. Officials say the shooter, who took his own life, was armed with 5 guns and 7 magazines, weapons they believe belonged to his father, a former policeman. It comes just 24 hours after these chilling images that authorities say show an 18-year-old former student opening fire with a long gun at another school in Turkey. 16 people, mostly students, were wounded. That gunman also took his own life. David, school shootings are rare in Turkey, but tonight teachers' unions are calling on the government to do more to prevent what they say is rising violence. David, our chief international correspondent, James Longman. Thanks, James.
Hey, this man. Y'all know Ecclesiastes 39 and 28. It says, "There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them." And we all know who that is. All right. It's Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. They're the king of spirits. All spirits, all things obey them. So when it's time for people to come back to the spirit world, the Lord puts things and people into play to make sure that happens. Now, this is a very sad thing, and somebody wrote something in the comment section. It was not funny.
Tonight, the images coming in: a 14-year-old shooter opening fire in 2 middle.
It was funny, but it wasn't funny. It was this first comment here. Turkey, it says, "What in the United States are you doing?" Right, because this is the type of stuff that happens in the United States. Okay, even in a place like Europe, Turkey in this instance, where guns are illegal for the average everyday citizen, you should not be hearing stories like this. But the thing is, these types of things are happening in many countries in Europe. They're starting to be more prevalent. Okay, it's getting to the point where certain tragedies that happen in Europe are starting to look like tragedies here in the United States. You know, because over here in America, this is, as sad as this is to say, school shootings is really not a big deal over here anymore. It's like, oh man, damn, that's sad. 30 people got put to death and 20 are injured. For us here, school shootings are no big thing. And that dates all the way back to, what was that, the early 90s or the late 90s? All right, when I believe what was it, Columbine? That was the first time you really heard of something like a school shooting, like a mass school shooting. That back then that was unheard of. Now it's just like, no big deal. But regardless of all of this, it's one of those things where you can see the Lord is increasing the judgment all across the world, not just here in Babylon the snake, but all across the world, because the Lord said that I think this is in Ezra, but I can't remember where it is. No, it's in Revelation. Revelation 18 and 4. It says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities." Okay, because not only the sins, and it's talking about America specifically. All right, not only have the sins of America reached to the heavens, but the sins of the entire world, the evil that they've done has reached to the heavens, because the whole world has been contaminated by America. And this is why they're catching judgments like America. When you go to Jeremiah 50 and 7, it says, "Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken." Okay, these philosophies, these false ideologies, this mindset and this lifestyle that many people in the world want to live, that's completely contrary to the scriptures. All right, being a mole, capitalism, a whoremonger, an adulterer, a liar, a shit starter, all these things that the Lord completely disapproves of, the whole world has taken on the philosophies and this ideology and this mindset that America has propagated around the world. Okay? And it says, "The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad." And see, this is why the whole world, all right, especially places in Europe, in this specific instance, Turkey, are catching judgments like you see here in the United States, because all these countries have, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, adopted the mindset of Babylon the snake. All these other countries and nations of people have, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, adopted the mindset of Babylon the snake. I can tell you, it's not related to this story, but I can tell you a personal testimony, just me being, just living life in the age that I am. I remember back in the day, I would have never thought in a million years that you would see Ishmaelite bitches twerking. But guess what you got happening now? Ishmaelite bitches twerking. Ishmaelite bitches on OnlyFans. Edomites twerking on OnlyFans. Like, that was unheard of. But now it happens. And see, now all these other nations are taking part of this, And like, this is cool. And the Lord's like, nah, this ain't cool. Because the Lord clearly tells us that not the wages of the son, but I want to get sin. Romans 6 and 23, straight to the point. Romans 6 and 23. For the wages of sin is death. Let me read that again. For the wages of sin is death. And this is why you are seeing so many horrible in America, like, for lack of a better phrase, like that man said, what in the United States is going on. All right, this is why these other countries are starting to catch judgments like you see here in America. Because they are living wickedly. And we're at the time where the Lord said, hey, I can't hold my peace. I'm gonna try to find that one. I think it was talking about Israel, but we can apply it to this. I found it. Man. I'm gonna just start from the top. 2 Ezra 15 and 1. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I put in thy mouth, saith Yahweh, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imagination against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Why? For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. They've reached their climax. It's time for the Lord to judge. It says, therefore saith Yahweh, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves, because the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore saith Yahweh, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. And this is why the world is catching hell. This is why the entire world is catching the judgment the way it is. Because this whole world has been polluted by bad Uncle Esau, especially this place, America, that was supposed to be a beacon of light, but it's really a beacon of darkness that's been spread throughout the entire world. And as we read, this place, Babylon, have made all the earth drunken. All right, they've all accepted this mindset, this philosophy, this satanic lifestyle. And the Lord said, I can't put up with it no more. It's now time for these folks to catch the judgment. And this is what we're seeing. All these spirits of vengeance going around. And as you can see, it's not little ones anymore. Like, oh, this person just took one person out. No, we're starting to have stories where one person is, as we said, is taking out, what did it say? 8 people or 20 some people?
School classrooms in Turkey. At least 9 people killed, students jumping out of windows.
Yeah, 9 people. All right, we're starting to see these situations. One person takes out 9. Or 2 people take out 50. Mass drive-by. Like the one that happened in Chicago not too long ago on Chicago Street. Drive-by. Took out 10 people. Like these are the judgments that we're seeing happen all across the world. And they've been increasing and intensifying with frequency and severity. The Lord is visiting this earth. And as the scripture says, hey, we need to stay separate from that. Because what's happening in this earth is meant for the wicked to avenge the blood of the innocent. And we hope that that is us. So that's all I wanted to say on this. I hope you all were edified. Till the next time, we're going to say shalom.